Hello and welcome back. Today we are going to spend some time with this very ugly dorodango, and I'm going to attempt to what I call resurface it, which is basically taking off the outer layers that I've spent hours polishing and trying to reapply fresh layers to hopefully end up with a much more attractive piece. This particular dorodango has quite a history. It's been through a lot, and it appears in one of my previous videos where I accidentally smashed some of my dorodangos and remade them. So this is a product of that. However, it used to look like this. So this is what it looked like the afternoon that I finished resurfacing it the first time. A beautiful cherry red. But I did make a number of mistakes when I was doing it, so we've ended up with this mottled, patchy, faded, ugly monstrosity. So today, let's attempt to take the surface off and we will see if we can get it to shine beautifully again. Now I want to mention that this is an incredibly old dorodango, and when I say incredibly, I mean around 12 months old. So the core is very, very dry. So I do not know how this is going to work out. So it's just, it's an experiment and we're going to see what happens. So this is generally how I resurface, and I have done this before with great success. However, yes, like I said, the question here is the age and the dryness of the core. So it's starting to flake off a little just by me soaking it gently and rotating it in this water. It's not coming off as easily as I would have hoped, which is not giving me great confidence in the final result. But we will press on and see. It's starting to come off a little bit, but not really. I'm going to keep going. I've been doing this for a really long time now, and I am honestly getting a little bit concerned that it's getting a bit too wet. So I'll just start trying to scrape it off with my jar. So it's just a rotating motion just to try and smooth down what's left on there. I'm also going to try and even out some of the areas which I suspect I left a little bit higher when I originally did this, which is why there was such a variation in color. There were some high spots, so I'm going to try and get rid of those as well, and hopefully from there we'll be able to add some more layers. It's been a while and I am getting there very slowly. This is really at this point I would say too dry to do this. So I'm going to say that there's a particular point in time where this no longer can be done successfully. It's not really becoming muddy, which is what we need it to do to apply the layers. It is wet, but it's very, very superficial, and I just don't think that anything is going to stick to this. So this just in. We have a severe crack. Now, I think that this has happened because the core is so hard, and when I'm trying to get these outer layers off, I'm pressing quite heavily, and because I had to soak it for so long, I basically just think that the core has become completely compromised, and now it has a giant crack through it just from pressure and being wet so much after being so dry. The more I squeeze it, the more cracks. If I squeeze it really hard, it's probably just going to crumble in my hand. So there we go. We cannot resurface this one. However, I'm not one to waste my dorodango material, so I think what I will do from here is let it dry just a little bit again, and then I am going to smash it down and blend it up into a fine powder again, and I'm just going to go ahead and remake the core from scratch. And in theory there shouldn't be any problem whatsoever in remaking another perfectly good dorodango. Okay, so here we are. We're going to smash this one up. I'll do the little green one in a minute. It's going to be added in because it's another one which did not work. But this is what I've done so far. I'm not going to smash it here because, as you can see, it vibrates the heck out of the camera. So I'm just going to get most of it done, and then I'm going to chuck it in the blender to get it into really fine powder because I simply don't have time or the strength to crush this up with my hand. So I'll go ahead and do that, and I'll come back and show you what I've got. Okay, so I have blended this all up in the blender. It's a beautiful fine powder now. So from here, I'm just going to add my water and knead it and basically make a dorodango from scratch again. So while from here, there's no particular fails because there's absolutely no reason why this won't work now. It's just to show you a perspective from start to finish where I have something, tried to do something, it didn't work, and now we're going to fix it. So this will be a very quick recreation of this dorodango, so you can see that all is not lost. If something does go wrong, it can be saved in the end. So we are back to baseline. This is a beautiful sticky clay now. It is 2 dorodangos combined because I did try to resurface another old one, I think, that I had, and it also did not work for different reasons, but it didn't work. So I've blended them both together now, and they are beautiful. They're sticky, it's moldable, very plasticky. So we are ready to create our brand new core. This will be the biggest one that I've made so far just because it's 2 combined. So that will probably present challenges in itself just from the size of it and the size of my hands. But that is okay. We are going to end up with a beautiful shiny dorodango at the end. And I am going to make a green one this time because I don't really have many green ones. And green is my favorite color, so that doesn't really make sense. So anyway, I will form the core and get back to it, and then I'll just simply show you the finished result. So this took a really long time. It was incredibly soft, and just the size of it made it a little bit more difficult because I couldn't compact it as well with my hands, just because my hands are too small. But I got there in the end with a relatively round shape. And so this is our finished core. We'll leave it there to dry for around 15 hours, and then we'll start polishing. So core's dry, and I've added the layers mostly, and I've just decided to add a little splash of blue, and we'll see how that turns out. So I'm polishing it nice and gently because I don't want it to flake or anything like that. To put a lot of work into this little guy. It's quite a lot more difficult being this big, to be honest. My hand is not quite big enough to hold it properly, but that's okay. We're getting a nice little bit of shine here. I expect that it will stay a little bit dull for the next few days, but over the course of the next week or so I will give it small polishes each day, which should bring up a really nice hard shine. At the end of the first day of polishing, this is what we are looking at. So it is a beautiful blue-green. There's little pops of blue on the green base. It's really nice. So I'll leave it to sit now just to dry up a little bit for a day or so, and then I'll give it another polish. This is what we have. So I've done my final polishing. It's around 4 days after I completed the dorodango. It is a really stunning color. It's worked out beautifully considering what we started with. I think that this is a tremendous success, even though we had to take a slightly different path to get there.